you about a story that's gone gangbusters, and then it's kind of deflated. That's the technical term for deflated there. We're talking about the Indian economy. It has suffered a surprising slowdown in growth. The number crunchers, they were expecting the Indian economy to expand, to grow by 6.6%. But guess what? Growth came in. It was only 5.7%. Last year as well, we know the government announced a massive crackdown on money laundering, which involved the government basically just removing nearly 90% of banknotes, just taking them out of circulation. We'll talk about that as well. Let's go straight over to our India business correspondent, Samir Hashmi. Hey, Samir, good to see you. We'll talk about well, what's being regarded as a failure with those banknotes in a second. But listen, you know what? In 6 or so months ago, we were going, the fastest growing economy in the world, and now we just continue seeing this bump, a continued slowdown. What went wrong, or what's going wrong?
Well, Aaron, it clearly suggests, the latest economic data clearly suggests it's the cash ban, which you referred to. Ever since the cash ban was brought in November last year, the economy has started to slide. Now, if you look at the growth figures for the first 3 months of this year, 2017, which is January to March, the figure was 6.1%. The latest figure that's come out is for April to June. Now, this number was expected to be about 6.5% or 6.6% because the economy was expected to recover from that cash ban decision. That hasn't happened, which clearly suggests that the economy has taken or is taking longer time to recover. Now, you know, after that cash ban decision came in, investments have taken a hit, so have business expansion plans. Small and medium-sized businesses have been struggling. They have not been getting any orders. I've spoken to a number of them, and they say that they just don't have the money or haven't been getting investments to really ramp up production. And so did consumption take a hit. People stopped buying less, they stopped shopping less, but it was expected that that will pick up in a few months, but clearly this data says that it's taking more time than expected.
And Samir, let's talk about that. The idea behind that move by the government to remove all the notes was to make it difficult, right? To make it really difficult for cash holders of illicit monies or undeclared monies, make it difficult for them to exchange to the new legal tender. And then India's central bank comes out today and says, guess what? 99% of banknotes were actually returned, which means if you were hoarding cash, you still managed to get it through the system. That's a failure, isn't it?
Well, that's right. I mean, the joke going around by some critics is that how this was a scheme to convert black money into white. I mean, of course, these are critics of this policy that have been saying this. But you're right. The whole idea of this cash ban policy was that they wanted to clamp down on so-called black money. It's money for which people don't pay tax. Now, nearly $240 billion of cash or banknotes were banned. What the government was expecting is that about $180 to $200 billion will come back into the system, but $40 to $50 billion, which is about 15% of the cash or the banknotes, won't come back, and that would imply that this was black money. We didn't make it back to the system. But with 99% of the banknotes coming in, it means that almost all of that money is white, and clearly the policy to crack down on corruption and black money and money laundering has failed on the face of it. Now, it's interesting, Aaron, that just 2 hours back, the government of India has come out in defense of this decision. They say that this helped bring in digital economy, give a push to digital economy, make India less reliable on cash. But hey, there were other ways of doing it. That's what critics are saying. Not this way by banning cash, which really had a severe impact on the economy. And these latest economic numbers clearly highlight that fact.
They do indeed. Hey, Samir, thanks very much for joining us. As always, we'll talk to you very soon. Samir Hashmi joining us live there.